So let's start with this. What are nonprofit success stories? They're basically testimonials or narratives about the success of particular nonprofit programs. They're a form of nonprofit marketing that seeks to basically tug the heartstrings of both small and large donors. At the nonprofit job I had when I first started this series, we as frontline mental health and social workers were constantly asked to come up with success stories. This was an example of we as nonprofit workers speaking for the community not speaking for themselves. So here's kind of the chain of command of how we got asked for success stories. The board, comprised largely of retired or active real estate and finance sector managers, a few healthcare professionals, and some hand-picked diverse folks who hop around different boards to fill diversity quotas to make nonprofits look less racist, would ask the CEO to ask upper management, to ask lower management, to ask us for success stories. And I'll share something with you guys that is going to sound really fucked up, but it'll give you an idea of what really high levels of burnout and what's called vicarious trauma does to you after you do this stuff for a while. Behind the backs of everyone above our pay grades, we would make sarcastic, resentful jokes about their requests for success stories. Couple of examples. One of my fellow workers once told me about a mother who just lost her job and housing, was living in her car, and had this gnarly, overly infected gash in her leg that seemed to be eating away at it almost to the level of the bone. Our wait list was so high, and we couldn't get her services for months, and finally when we did get her services, her levels of anxiety were so high that she just couldn't come to appointments and she dropped out. We don't really know what happened to her. For all I know, she's dead. The fellow worker who did the most work with her directly once said to me, "Should I tell them this is a success story?" And we actually kind of chuckled. Not because we were laughing at the situation or at this woman, but because we thought the idea of being asked for success stories was really fucking stupid. Me and another worker had a shared case with a couple of kids who were sexually abused by their dad, and after a years-long court battle, the dad got custody of the kids. So now they were trapped with the guy who abused them, and we were still expected to be providing services to help relieve them of symptoms of PTSD. We said to each other under our breath, "Is this one of those fucking success stories they're always asking for?" Hopefully you get the idea. The fact is that nonprofits fail a lot more than they succeed. But because of the pressure to market themselves as actually helping, they can't really talk about their failures. Another reason for this is the professionalization problem I described before. Professionalism is about creating the appearance of doing things the right way, and never doing things the wrong way, or at least giving the impression that you don't do things the wrong way. In my experience, the pressure for success stories wasn't terrible, really. I learned in my mid-late teens that if you want to keep a job, you just kind of do whatever you're told so you don't get fired. So even in a nonprofit focused on helping traumatized, low-income immigrant families and children, I knew that if I'm getting asked to provide success stories, even if that was really weird, it's just something I'd have to do, and I'd probably want to do it really well. And so I did. And every time I did, our marketing director would reply to my emails and thank me profusely with highly professional email etiquette. Was I lying when I whipped up success stories? Not really. I just thought about situations people were in when they first came to our door, and I thought about ways in which their lives had maybe improved by the time we'd been working with them for a while, and that's how I framed the narrative. But that's the thing. I was framing a narrative. It's kind of a postmodern marketing psychology trick, and I knew exactly what I was doing. I had an intended audience, our board and our donors, and I crafted language for that intended audience based on what I thought they wanted to hear. I didn't ever write about the degree to which myself and other frontline staff were constantly failing, nor the ways society was failing our clients, nor the way the decisions that management was making, which was making our lives and our clients' lives much harder. I just wanted to keep my job. A bit of a side note here. When we talk about nonprofits generally, we're usually talking about 501c3s, which I've mentioned before. These are designated as charities. The charity model of helping depends on inequality, in that you need a helper, someone with the power to help, and a helpee, someone who doesn't have the power to help themselves. The charity model inherently needs certain people to lack power so that those with power can help them. Charity is not solidarity. In that sense, the need for nonprofit workers to come up with success stories about nonprofit programs for boards and donors is in service of reinforcing the power imbalances that keep people in a position of disempowerment. Watch my previous video on social service versus social change for elaboration on this concept. Okay, The next segment of this series is the last one, and in my opinion, the most interesting, although, as you might have noticed, the quality of these videos over time has decreased immensely, so the next video will probably be shitty like this one. I'm just really burnt out on the series, so apologies. The topic is on the criminalization and medicalization of violence, and the role that feminist nonprofits of the 1980s played on intensifying the growth of the prison industrial complex in service of protecting women from abusive, violent men. Shout out to the patrons real quick. Rodrigo, Renee Joy, Sahil Shah, Sam, Carly Berman, Zach, Isabel Abdullali, Kelgore Trout, Nicholas Mostello, Katie Drax, Street Sweeper, Diane Prado, Lauren, Garbage Possum, Space Commune, Ashley Altman, Pablo Ruiz, Ulrich Volker Anderson, Jamie Smith, Dylan Yee, Labor Kyle, Fiona, L, Sam LaChance, Jen Garcia, Chaotic Capybara, The Appalachian Left, Dirt Knight, Halim Al-Ra, Wes, Leo Samalati, Bryden Beck, Laura Dale, Noah, Esmel Fade, Ace, Super Arjuna Butt, Waltzing Kia,